Hi there, 6 p.m. here in Moscow. This is Art International with me, Kevin Owen. Thanks ever so much for choosing us this hour. And there's big news that's just unfolded at the UN Security Council. The international bitterness over the crisis in Syria has been really laid bare. A special UN Security Council meeting underway, still continuing, but the main players in it have just been finished speaking in New York. In the past hour, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says that he wants a thorough and impartial investigation into that deadly attack on that UN aid convoy near Aleppo. But just finished speaking, US Secretary of State John Kerry said that listening to Mr. Lavrov made him feel as if he was, quote, in a parallel universe.
I listened to my colleague from Russia, and I sort of felt a little bit like they're sort of in a parallel universe here.
Russia has provided all information that it has regarding the attack against this convoy, including video, in real-time video, and we insist on a very thorough and impartial investigation of the attack on the humanitarian convoy. Many said that it could have been a rocket or an artillery shelling. I think we need to refrain from emotional reactions and make comments immediately, public comments, but first to investigate and be very professional. I just wanted to mention that the distance from the point of the incident and the epicenter of clashes in the center of Aleppo, where terrorists are fighting, is no more than 5 to 7 kilometers.
Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but you are not entitled to your own facts. So I want to share some facts with you this morning. On Monday, 20 aid workers were killed in an outrageous, sustained, 2-hour attack directed at a fully authorized humanitarian mission near Aleppo. Those are facts.
It's claimed that 2 Russian Sukhoi Su-24 warplanes were in the skies above that aid convoy at the exact time it was struck late on Monday. That's the latest through now. It's news about that's come from US officials who told the Reuters news agency, citing US intelligence that led them, therefore, to conclude, rightly or wrongly, that Russia was to blame. Russia says no. Murat Gazdiev's got more.
First of all of our information indicates clearly that this was an airstrike. That means there only could have been 2 entities responsible, either the Syrian regime or the Russian government.
Okay, so that's what the Americans are saying. What's everyone else saying? The UN at first said that it was airstrikes that destroyed part of that convoy. A few days later, when heads had a chance to cool down and people had a chance to look at the facts, they amended that statement and removed any mention of an airstrike. And the Russians have said from the onset, it was neither us nor the Syrians.
It couldn't have been the Syrian Air Force which hit the convoy, because the attack happened late in the evening. Syrian planes do not fly when it's dark.
In fact, the Russians watched over the convoy as it made its way through parts of Aleppo, and they actually filmed a military vehicle belonging to either Nusra or the rebels. They're friendly in Aleppo, moving alongside the convoy, carrying a howitzer, carrying an artillery piece. Just a few hours after this video was shot, Nusra launched a major offensive, and there's a blank space. We don't know what exactly happened there. The next video that we got to see was of the convoy, or parts of the convoy, burning and burning, and white helmets telling us that it was the Russians and Assad that did this. However, when you look at the damage that's been done, it's inconsistent with what the United States is saying, that it was a pair of Russian tactical bombers that did this. First of all, the frames of the vehicles are more or less intact. If a Russian bomb, the sort of thing that the Su-24 uses, had fallen on that convoy, there would have been scraps left.
It seems at the moment that the only witnesses that are being quoted by the Western media to blame an airstrike for this do in fact seem to come from the white helmets, although that position might change. And so therefore, we've got one interested party that seems to be claiming that this was an airstrike, and specifically they claim in their video on the BBC and elsewhere that this was a barrel bomb strike. In other words, that helicopters were used, and somehow these very clumsy weapons left no mark on the ground but did destroy this air convoy.
Very interesting thing was also said by John Kerry. He claimed that the convoy was under sustained attack for 2 hours, which begs the question, how are 2 tactical bombers capable of bombing something for 2 hours straight without running out of bombs? Nevertheless, United States intelligence services tell us it was the Russians.
Dana McAdams from the American think tank, the Ron Paul Institute, says
all of a sudden the U.S. claims to know who did this and how it was done. The U.S. doesn't want to talk about the 62 Syrian soldiers that it killed a few days ago, and this very conveniently, perhaps coincidentally, completely changes the topic. But we don't know whether it is an airstrike at all. So it's a sort of insinuation, it just to plant the seed in everyone's mind, whereas in fact we have absolutely no idea, at least at this point, who did it and why.